Sorry, Bernie bros, but Bernie is canceled. Oh, damn. Sorry. It's over, Bernie bros. Bernie's canceled. Why is he canceled? Well, because in a private meeting with Senator Elizabeth Warren, he said that the Women's March is for effing simps. And you know what else he said? And Elizabeth Warren confirmed in this private meeting that he would be purchasing Jeffrey Epstein's airplane so that he could travel from Washington, D.C., private, to Iowa so he could do campaign events at night after the impeachment trials are over during the day. And he said he wanted to have Jeffrey Epstein's airplane because it's got spunk. What is that supposed to mean, Bernie? It's over. It is so over. I mean, I'm off board. I'm done. I'm going to have to find something else to post about on Facebook. Over a year of nothing but Bernie and everyone who's friends with me on Facebook completely disengaging and unfollowing me. Now what do I have to show for it? Just another sexist Bernie bro with nowhere else to go. No, but of course it has been a rough week for Bernie Sanders. If you haven't heard, I don't know how you would have not heard, and you're also watching this, which defeats the purpose of this video / podcast / TikTok. This is going on TikTok in 75 different pieces. That's right. And how did it all start? Well, last weekend, Politico reported that Sanders' campaign has begun stealthily attacking Warren as a candidate of the upper crust who could not expand the Democratic base in a general election. And this was based on a script that Politico came across, I guess, from the Bernie Slack or something. And it was scripts for people who I think are knocking doors or doing calls for Bernie and trying to do some voter identification and to sway some undecided voters, I guess. And what this script allegedly said is, quote, people who support Warren are highly educated, more affluent people who are going to show up and vote Democratic no matter what. Devastating. I mean, where does he get off saying such horrible things about people who support Elizabeth Warren? College educated? They didn't even graduate high school. They're morons. Everyone knows that, Bernie. How could you say such horrific things about Elizabeth Warren supporters? Affluent? They live in the goddamn gutter. Of course, Bernie. What are you thinking? Telling your volunteers to say that kind of stuff about Warren supporters. It's problematic, and that's why he's canceled. It's over. So that happened Saturday, and I don't think the candidates, they took their time responding, and it's Saturday. They're out at events, whatever. And then a reporter finally gets to Warren and asks her about this, and here it is.
The Bernie Sanders campaign and the way that they are talking about you at the doors here in Iowa, basically saying that your voters are people who will vote Democrat anyway, that you don't bring new bases into the Democratic tent. Why is he wrong?
I was disappointed to hear that Bernie is sending his volunteers out to transmit. Bernie knows me and has known me for a long time. He knows who I am, where I come from, what I have worked on and fought for, and the coalition and grassroots movement we're trying to build. Democrats want to win in 2020. We all saw the impact of the factionalism in 2016, and we can't have a repeat of that.
This is incredibly disappointing as somebody who I'm not going to go out and say that I was ever an Elizabeth Warren supporter. I never sent any money her way, but I always considered her an ally in the movement that Bernie Sanders is building and that she is helping aid. I would argue that her presidential campaign is not aiding in that, other than when they've kind of tag teamed some of the issues in the debates, which I have applauded her for that and given her plenty of accolades for that. But this is a clear turn. This is, I think, she's showing her true colors here. because it would be one thing if this was her response to a reporter ambushing her and asking her a question about something she hadn't heard about yet. And she got emotional and she's like, wow, Bernie's saying things about me and that my supporters, I don't have an actual grassroots base and that, that I'm a fraud. That would be one thing, but she was clearly briefed on this already. She knew about this. She had her response ready to go. And instead of saying something like, there's different ways of trying to sway voters, that's the way that the Bernie campaign decided to do it. Maybe she's disappointed, maybe she's not, but to straight up say that Bernie's trashing her for using verifiable data, it is well known and well reported that her supporters are primarily college educated, upper middle class, white people. That's just the truth. Whether you like that or not, that's the case. That doesn't make you a worse person. That just makes it the facts. So that's what she said. And then she goes on to say that this is the kind of factionalism that we saw in 2016, straight up implying that Bernie Sanders is the reason that Hillary Clinton lost in 2016, because he had the balls to run against her. After, by the way, he encouraged Elizabeth Warren to run for president, in which she said, no, because I know it's Hillary's turn, so I'm not gonna try to, step to the queen. So then Bernie said, well, I don't care. I'm running because she's not what this country needs after 8 years of Obama. I'm getting ahead of myself. Here we go. She sent out on Sunday a fundraising email to her supporters. Last night, we got some disappointing news. Bernie Sanders' campaign is instructing volunteers to dismiss our broad-based, inclusive campaign by saying the people who support Elizabeth are highly educated, more affluent people. That sounds like it's from the fucking Onion. When I heard that description, I didn't recognize it. That doesn't describe me or many of the passionate volunteers and organizers I know. This type of attack isn't about disagreeing on issues. It's about dismissing the potency of our grassroots movement. And then, they made the ask for money. This is a coordinated attack. She's slipping in the polls. She's not fundraising the way that she wants to be. So this is the route she goes. Is this the progressive champion that's going to get you Medicare for all, that's going to get you free college? Because this seems like a rank political opportunist who sees that she's not going to be the president. She's not going to get the nomination. It's going to be somebody else. It just might be Bernie Sanders. And she's willing to sling this mud that makes it infinitely more likely that somebody like Joe Biden or maybe even Pete Buttigieg becomes the candidate who will not bring any of the stuff that she says that she's fighting for. In fact, she's gone toe-to-toe with these people at debates, and I think it's been great. I like watching her go after those guys. She doesn't go after them too hard, and it's been a while since she's done it, but it's nice when she does. So what is her end goal here? Because Bernie's end goal is not me, us. It's building a grassroots movement of people to get out in the street and demand a better world. And if he's president, he can help facilitate that. The end goal is not Bernie Sanders being president. The end goal is fighting for a society that works for all of us, not just the 1%. And I sound like I'm a campaign ad now because I've watched so much Bernie shit, but that's what he stands for, and that's what me and millions of other Bernie supporters want. Is she going to bring about the revolution that we need? The fundamental changing of the society that we live in so that we're not dictated by oligarchs who have so much power in government because they have so much money, and that money keeps compounding itself because they pay off our politicians and they prevent any real big structural change from happening. This is her move. This is how she tries to leverage more support. By shitting on the only guy on stage who actually stands for the shit she acts like she stands for. It's so gross. So Bernie did respond to this In a response to a question on whether he approved of his campaign's criticism of Miss Warren, he denied responsibility for the script, saying he himself had never attacked Miss Warren, which he didn't, and he blamed the news media for overstating the tension between the two campaigns. I got to tell you, this is a quote, I got to tell you, I think this is a little bit of a media blow-up that kind of wants conflict, he said. Elizabeth Warren is a very good friend of mine. We have worked together in the Senate for years. Elizabeth Warren and I will continue to work together. We will debate the issues. No one is going to trash Elizabeth Warren. Note the difference between those two responses. Bernie said that script did not come from the top down. Whoever wrote that, the campaign does not agree with it. And Politico says that the source had Bernie for America or the Bernie campaign logo on it or whatever. Regardless, he's disavowing that phrasing. He's saying, that's not from me. I don't agree with that. I'm friends with Elizabeth Warren. We're going to debate the issues. We're not going to get down in the mud about some petty BS. And her response is, he trashed me. He's canceled. Screw him. But also, I still want to be his friend, even though I clearly perpetuated this. I don't know, man. It's so disappointing because I will make fun of Elizabeth Warren because she's been very problematic a lot over a long span of time. And yet I still felt like she could be a useful actor and an ally in this movement. And in some ways she has been. But this week she has undeniably just gone back on any of that. There's no coming back from what happened this week because this is just the start of it. This was the first thing. This is how we went into Monday. And then on Monday, this came out. And I believe CNN broke this news story, which of course they did because who's hosting the debate this past Tuesday? Who's going to release a bombshell story to manufacture some BS controversy? But CNN, the pro wrestling news network. CNN's not news. CNN is corporate propaganda, and it has never been worse than this week. I mean, they did get Donald Trump elected, so maybe I shouldn't say that, but the fact that Bernie Sanders gets blamed for Donald Trump's election and CNN generally gets a pass, even though they gave him literally $1 billion in free advertisement in 2016, fuck off. So this was a story from CNN on Monday morning. The stakes were high when Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren met at Warren's apartment in Washington, D.C. one evening in December 2018. So we're going back a year ago to last December, not a few weeks ago, but last December. The longtime friends knew that they could soon be running against each other for president, so they were talking about running. The two agreed that if they ultimately faced each other as presidential candidates, they should remain civil and avoid attacking one another, so as to not hurt the progressive movement. They also discussed how to best take on President Donald Trump, and Warren laid out the two main reasons she believed she would be a strong candidate. She could make a robust argument about the economy and earn broad support from female voters. Absolutely. Sanders responded that he did not believe a woman could win. CNN, without any sort of journalistic integrity or like pushing back and trying to figure out whether this is true or not, just reports that as fact. Sanders responded that he did not believe a woman could win, period. The description of that meeting is based on the accounts of 4 people, 2 people Warren spoke with directly soon after the encounter. So 2 people who were not at the encounter and 2 people familiar with the meeting. So 2 very solid sources, 4 very solid sources, 2 people who weren't there and then 2 people who also weren't there. After publication of the story, Warren herself backed up this account of the meeting. Bernie and I met for more than 2 hours in December 2018 to discuss the 2020 election, our past work together, and our shared goals, beating Donald Trump, taking back our government from the wealthy and well-connected, and building an economy that works for everyone. Among the topics that came up was what would happen if Democrats nominated a female candidate. I thought a woman could win. He disagreed. Straight from Warren, someone who was in the room. So she straight up said he disagreed when she said, I thought a woman could win. Okay. I have no interest in discussing this private meeting any further because Bernie and I have far more in common than our differences on punditry. I'm in this race to talk about what's broken in this country and how to fix it. And that's what I'm going to continue to do. I know Bernie is in the race for the same reason. We have been friends and allies in this fight for a long time, and I have no doubt we will continue to work together to defeat Donald Trump and put our government on the side of the people. That's her stance. She says he said that a woman couldn't win, and that's it. He said that. I don't want. I'm a privileged white boy just sitting right here, talking about a very rich, very privileged white woman right now. So I get the optics, all right? But it just doesn't add up. If you accused Bernie of like being too passionate about fucking Medicare for all, that would be one thing. But if you're accusing him of something, it just doesn't align with what he has stood for consistently for 40, 50 years. Meanwhile, Elizabeth Warren has a lot of problematic shit in her past, including lying for the majority of her life until a couple years ago about being Cherokee. So then, inevitably, it got brought up at the debate.
Let's now turn to an issue that's come up in the last 48 hours. Senator Sanders. CNN reported yesterday and Senator Warren confirmed in a statement that in 2018, you told her that you did not believe that a woman could win the election. Why did you say that?
Well, as a matter of fact, I didn't say it. And I don't want to waste a whole lot of time on this because this is what Donald Trump and maybe some of the media want. Anybody knows me, knows that it's incomprehensible that I would think that a woman could not be president of the United States. Go to YouTube today. There's a video of me 30 years ago talking about how a woman could become president of the United States. In 2015, I deferred, in fact, to Senator Warren. There was a movement to draft Senator Warren to run for president. And you know what? I stayed back. Senator Warren decided not to run, and I did run afterwards. Hillary Clinton won the popular vote by 3 million votes. How could anybody in a million years not believe that a woman could become president of the United States?
It's like how could anybody think that I believe that? No matter what was actually said in this meeting, which there's really no way that any of us is going to find out what was actually said, what has been inferred by people. Two people with knowledge of the conversation at the 2018 dinner at Warren's home told the Washington Post that Warren brought up the issue by asking Sanders whether he believed a woman could win. One of the people with knowledge of the conversation said Sanders did not say a woman couldn't win, but rather that Trump would use nefarious tactics against the Democratic nominee. Now, I know that we're talking about two other sources who were not in the apartment for this particular meeting also, and I was just shitting on those sources for not actually being there. But this is where your critical thinking skills have to come out, and you can't just take what a politician says at face value, no matter how much you like them. And you got to say, how does this align with who they are as a person and what their actions have been throughout their career over the past couple of years? What aligns here? This seems to align pretty well. So here's a couple of those clips that Bernie just mentioned.
The real issue is not whether you're black or white, whether you're a woman or a man. In my view, a woman could be elected president of the United States. The real issue is, whose side are you on? Are you on the side of workers and poor people, or are you on the side of big money and the corporations?
Has there ever been a woman mayor?
Not in Burlington. There have been, and there are women mayors all over the country. There's a woman governor in the state. Who can tell me the name of our governor? Yeah?
I think it's Madeline Kuhn.
That's right, Madeline Kuhn. And Governor Kuhn is a woman. And there are other, not a whole lot, I think there's one other woman governor. There are the mayor of San Francisco is a woman, and there are many women mayors, but not enough. And one of the very important things, and I hope that all the girls in this class understand, that you, just as much as the boys, have a right to become president. There's not been a woman president, although there was a woman who was giving thought to running for president this time, from Colorado, a woman named Representative Schroeder gave some thought. So I hope that the girls will think that they have the right to be involved in politics quite as much as the boys do. It's beginning to change, but it's not changing fast enough.
But that wasn't it for the exchange between Warren and Sanders. It went on. They followed up his answer with this.
So Senator Sanders, I do want to be clear here. You're saying that you never told Senator Warren that a woman could not win the election.
That is correct.
So he straight up says, I did not say that. I did not say a woman could not beat Trump in this election. So now we've got two people who do not agree on the fact. So the obvious follow-up question to that's going to Elizabeth Warren now, of course the moderator is going to say, did Bernie say that a woman could not win this election? Let's see if she asks that question.
To be clear here, you're saying that you never told Senator Warren that a woman could not win the election.
That is correct.
Senator Warren, what did you think when Senator Sanders told you a woman could not win the election?
I disagreed. Bernie is my friend, and I am not here to try to fight with Bernie. But look, this question about whether or not a woman can be president has been raised, and it's time for us to attack it head on. And I think the best way to talk about who can win is by looking at people's winning record. So, can a woman beat Donald Trump? Look at the men on this stage. Collectively, they have lost 10 elections. The only people on this stage who have won every single election that they've been in are the women, Amy and me. And the only person on this stage who has beaten an incumbent Republican any time in the past 30 years is me. And here's what I know. The real danger that we face as Democrats is picking a candidate who can't pull our party together or someone who takes for granted big parts of the Democratic constituency. We need a candidate who will excite all parts of the Democratic Party, bring everyone in, and give everyone a Democrat to believe in. That's my plan, and that is why I'm going to win.
Senator,
The disappointing thing about this is that all the stuff after the Bernie stuff, all 100% legit, you know? Like, the fact that we're debating this at all is ridiculous. But also, who started this whole thing? CNN and the Warren campaign. Bernie Sanders has fought for, campaigned for women for years. He inspired the entire squad to join Congress. And now they support him. So here's why it's so disappointing, because you've got somebody like Joe Biden on stage who is a serial just inappropriate toucher of women, who all the stuff with Anita Hill, who has just been such a problematic, bad person when it comes to women, for Elizabeth Warren to try to take down Bernie Sanders as some kind of sexist who doesn't believe that women should be in government, or that they're not capable of being president or leaders or what have you. It's just gross, and it reeks of political insider consultants giving her terrible tactics. As much as I can go off on Elizabeth Warren about problematic stuff she's done in her life, this doesn't align with what I've seen in her when she is doing good. Maybe I need to realize that she is just as rank a political actor as the rest of them. I mean, she was a Republican until she was 47 years old. She voted for Nixon. She voted for Reagan. She's not a progressive. And it is really shocking that the quote-unquote most progressive person in Congress, that outside of Bernie Sanders, is Elizabeth Warren, and is someone who used to be a Republican and who is somebody who took advantage of her alleged native heritage. It's a hell of a grift there, Elizabeth Warren. I don't want to discount what her recollection of the meeting was. But at what point in the hundreds of hours of Bernie Sanders speaking to people, have you ever got the indication that, one, that he's anti-woman, and two, that he is a liar? Because Bernie Sanders has had some very unpopular stances on things for a very, 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 very long time. Bernie was under fire earlier in this campaign season for saying that convicted felons should be allowed to vote from jail. That's not a popular sentiment. He didn't have to say that. Bernie doesn't lie. Bernie's the most trusted politician in the country and has been every year since like 2015. People believe what he says. Whether you agree with Bernie or not, it's pretty clear that he's not full of shit. He's going to tell you what he actually thinks. And if he actually thought that a woman couldn't win, he's going to say it. But he's not going to say it because he doesn't believe that. But she did, again, she tried to distance herself from it and say, I don't want to fight with Bernie, even though this shit came straight from her campaign. So I'm like, okay, fine. Maybe this is all just a misunderstanding. And then this happened after the debate was over.
I think you called me a liar on national TV. What? I think you called me a liar on national TV.
Let's not do it right now. You want to have that discussion? We'll have that discussion. You called me. You told me. All right, let's not do it now.
I don't want to get involved. I just want to say hi, Bernie.
Yeah, good. Okay.
He goes to shake her hand, extend an olive branch, I guess. He goes to shake her hand. She says, you called me a liar on national television. She knew she was mic'd. And she tried to create a moment that could blow up and end his campaign. No, dude. Hell no. This is not just some misunderstanding that the media is trying to take advantage of, which CNN absolutely is, because they really, people saw the video, but there was mysteriously no audio from that interaction for a full day, so that they can then extend this story and, not talk about what a problematic piece of garbage that Joe Biden is. But this was coordinated. This was 100% an attack on Bernie Sanders to try to take him out. And the good news is that it backfired. Because within 24 hours of the debate, the Sanders campaign raised $1.7 million. And then within 48 hours of the campaign, they raised $4 million from 200,000 contributors, 25,000 of which brand new contributors, people who had never donated to Bernie this entire process. 25,000 people saw this rank bullshit, and they said, no. I would be interested to see what percentage of those people were Warren supporters, or who were kind of torn between Warren and Bernie, and they saw all of this unfold over the past several days, and they said, hell no. She's a liar, and Bernie's the real deal, and he's been the real deal unflinchingly, without giving, even an inch for his entire career. And that I'm giving money to him. He has my support. So How this will shake out in the end, I really don't know. I'm interested to see what the poll results are going to be, but I mean, we got to move on. We have to move on from this, but it feels personal. I don't know either of these people, but the fact that we've been told that there needs to be unity and we can't fight during this process, otherwise you give Trump power. It was clearly all just BS that they were using to keep Bernie from attacking Elizabeth Warren and any of the other candidates. And I don't know if the gloves are going to come off from the Bernie campaign or not. They pushed back, but they still haven't come out and called it for what it is, which is a blatant attack. But I don't know. I really don't have a button to put on this other than to say that I think Warren's campaign is over, and I'll be surprised if she makes it past New Hampshire.